And it is the Very Important Partner Show by JBology Live. I'm your host, Krista Anakovsky, interviewing Mary Hiland. How are you, Mary?
I'm great. Krista, how are you?
Doing good. Always good to see you. Nice to have you. You're one of our mastery members and have been playing full out and involved with JBology. And I'd love for you to tell our audience who you are and what you're up to.
Well, I'm Mary, and I work with nonprofit organizations, particularly executive directors, to help their boards be really effective and to help them work in partnership in a very positive way with their boards. So that can be a pain point for nonprofit executive directors. I know because I've been there, involved in nonprofit sector for over 40 years. So that's what I do, and I came to JBology because I realized that I want to leverage myself and reach more people and have more impact, and doing that through partners is the way to go.
It really is. What is the problem that people are having when they come to you?
Well, I think there's two dimensions of it. One is the executive director of a nonprofit has to work with a board of directors. Everybody out there may not realize that this board averages about 15 people. That's their boss. And so developing that partnership and also making sure those people understand how they can add the most value to advance the mission. The problem I hear the most is executives say, my board doesn't really understand what their job is, and they get involved with my job. And it's managing that partnership and making sure that board is as effective as it can be. And some executives want a really strong board, and that's my ideal partner. And some are having problems with their board, or particularly the chair of their board. And so sometimes we have to go in and look at how do we make things work for the good of everyone.
I'm sure that's really, really helpful to keep everything moving smoothly and open communication for the good of the nonprofit. Yeah. So now that you're going to be attending a JBology Live again, who are the partners? What kind of people are good for you to connect with? They should be saying to themselves, wow, I should get to know Mary.
I think, first, anyone whose audience is executive directors of nonprofits. Secondarily, maybe people who know people who serve on a board of directors, for sure, or serve on a board of directors themselves and would realize that they could be better. They could go from good to great. So those would be the ideal partners. I think in terms of my being able to serve others and sharing their gifts with my audience, it would be people who have something for leaders, people who have something, say, for those nonprofit executives of those organizations where they could be a more effective leader in general, even if they don't necessarily have a product that's specific to nonprofit executives. But for me, that's the ideal audience.
Good. So for those of you who are watching and you may think, well, I'm not in the nonprofit sector, or I don't know that I really work with that audience. If you're working with executives, if you're working with entrepreneurs and with leaders in their community, most likely they are also on a board or wanting to be on a board to increase their visibility and their contribution to their community. So once you start asking, you may realize that you actually do have clientele that match Mary's audience. So that would be a great place for them to connect with you.
Yes. And when in doubt, just reach out. So.
I like that. I like it. So one last quick thing. What has your experience been with JBology, and why do you keep hanging out with us?
Well, JBology, I have to say first, I'm a very values-driven person. A lot of people in the nonprofit sector are. And what I was just amazed with and moved by is Jay and his values and his mission and what his message is about: go first, give first, that this is about authentic relationships and partnerships. And I knew that I was looking for the ability, as I said, to leverage myself. But I also was really excited to find a mentor, a teacher, a program that enabled me to connect with people in an authentic way, and that everybody in that room is aligned with that same sense of service. And I was just very impressed with that, because as you can imagine, Krista, you don't see that online as the main way of showing up.
You're absolutely
At least
right.
that's not been my experience.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mary. It was so good to talk to you again. We look forward to having you as a very important partner at JBology Live. And for those of you watching, make sure you connect with Mary.
Thank you so much, Krista. Take care.